Last week I was preparing a video for you lovely people when I got the word that my friend Terry had died. I call him my friend, but I never actually met him. Well, that's not strictly true. We did meet once. I was in a queue, he was sat behind a table. It wasn't a particularly good position for striking up a conversation, and I was moved on fairly quickly. But hell, it was a long time ago. I was still a child. We never conducted any conversations, Terry and I, but I felt I knew him because of his extraordinary work. And when you have so many words written by one person, a little bit of their soul shines through. His Discworld books are to fantasy as Beyond the Fringe was to politics. Many people I've spoken to over the years have sort of dismissed the books because, well, they don't read those sort of books. In school, in college, later in the workplace, reading Discworld was sort of looked down upon in the same way as playing Dungeons and Dragons or enjoying Doctor Who. It's as if fantasy can't be a sort of literature, which is odd to me, because the very people who say that are the very people who enjoyed Gulliver's Travels when they were a child, and now that they've all grown up can understand the political ramifications of it. Because at its heart, Discworld isn't about a flat world sat on the back of 4 elephants that are stood on the back of a giant turtle drifting through space. It's about you and I and our greatest achievements and our largest conceits. The lowest of the low to the ruling classes. It's about every single one of us. I can't read a normal book in the same regard that I can read a Discworld book. Ironically, they're too flat. Terry Pratchett knew how to create instantly recognisable characters, and his books delight in pushing them to their extremes. Beyond that, his extraordinary intellect was shown throughout his work, throughout his speeches, throughout his other writings. He was a great advocate of fantasy, a great believer that humans could do anything if they were just to put their pettiness behind them, and a great supporter of assisted death. I mention the assisted death because about 7 years ago, Terry was diagnosed with a form of early onset Alzheimer's. It's the most cruel illness that an author can have. He spoke and wrote very eloquently on the subject with a lot of humour that you just wouldn't expect was there. He told us about the way that he had to make sure that his pants were on the right way round by taking them down and walking around them and then pulling them back on again. He always wrote with the charm and wit that his fans had been accustomed to, even though beneath that was an underlying anger that the world had visited on him such a cruel fate. Alzheimer's can affect anyone. There are people as young as 30 can start to see symptoms of the disease happening. We think of it as a problem for the elderly, old-timers disease, but it's really something that we should be focusing on right now. More money is needed for drugs, for research, for palliative care. More money is needed so that the next generation of great minds don't have to face the same indignities as Sir Terry Pratchett. Because of this, and as a memorial to Sir Terry, his family have set up a Just Giving page, with the proceeds going to RICE, the Research Institute for the Care of the Elderly, who, amongst other things, help support people who have Alzheimer's disease. At the time of writing this, it's raised £38,000. It needs to raise more. I included a link below, as well as a link to my blog where I talked about my initial reactions to Terry Pratchett's death and the legacy that I think he leaves behind him. It's something that's affected me profusely. He's someone that I grew up reading, and he's one of those people who you just thought would be around forever. Luckily, because of his books, he probably will be. That's my opinion. Anyway, let me know yours by leaving a comment below, or you can contact me on Twitter at Steve_Mellor or at Burnt Papyrus, or on Facebook /Burnt Papyrus. Until next time, which is Thursday at 6, by the way, I'll see you then.